everybody, hope you're having a great day. Today's video is a tag video that I am like 99.99% sure that I have created. If I haven't, let me know. I would love to tag whoever did create this, but I'm pretty sure that I did make up a pretty unique idea for a tag video. I don't know about you, but I am a huge shoe fanatic. I have been for years. I love collecting shoes and I have a lot of them. I will link my shoe collection video down below. It needs to be updated. Let me get on it. I will, I promise. But anyways, so the video idea behind this is I have collected different shoes over the years, and of course you wear shoes to events or places or whatever and you make memories in them, and there's some pretty cool places that I've worn my shoes and some awesome memories behind it, so I thought that it would be an interesting idea for a tag to share some of those with you. So what I'm gonna do is pick my top 7 most memorable shoes, I guess, that I've ever worn to my most memorable places and tell you my stories behind my shoes. So the first pair I'm going to show you is actually a pair of boots, and let me set the scene for you. So I would have been 18 years old. I was living in Vancouver, BC, and I was working at a restaurant called Milestones. And I also worked a part-time job at Guess. And I was working my butt off because it was the first time I had ever obviously moved away from home. I was 18, living on my own, and I just had to hustle. So I was at work one day at my Milestones job. I was a hostess at this point because I wasn't old enough to serve. And this girl walked in and she was like fancy schmancy. Like, she was one of those girls that nowadays you want to creep on Instagram, but we didn't have Instagram back then. But she walked in and she was wearing these boots, and I just like, I couldn't even stop looking at them. They were sparkly, they were black, they were beautiful. And I asked her where she got them from, and she said Marciano. And if you guys didn't know, Marciano actually was a subgroup of the Guess group, meaning with my Guess discount, I could get a discount on that store. And I was like, you're kidding, like what are the odds of that? So I was really, really excited, but then she said, you really should hurry though because they're already on sale and I don't think they have many sizes left. I freaked out. I immediately sat her down, did her table stuff, did my work stuff, ran to the back, called the store at Marciano and said, oh my gosh, do you have a size 7? And they're like, no, we have a 6.5. And I'm like, shit, okay, can you put them on hold? And they said, no, because it's a sale item. And I started freaking out because I had about 5 hours left of work. I ended up leaving work a half an hour early, took a bus to the other side of town and sprinted into the store and grabbed the last pair of 6.5 boots. And these are said boots. Nowadays, I don't think I would ever sprint across town for these boots. I love them. I love what they are. I think they're amazing. But at the time, these were like my, oh my god, these are the be-all end-alls. So they didn't fit. They were a size 6.5. I ended up having to use that trick with water baggies. I might actually save that for a quick tip Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. But I ended up stretching these suckers and they barely fit. I can only wear them with a really thin sock. I ended up using these for like my work boot when I was a waitress for ages. The toes starting to peel off because that's how much I wore them. The second pair of shoes that I want to show you is a pair from Betsey Johnson, and this is what they look like. And these were my prom shoes, and these were the first pair of designer shoes that I had ever worn, seen, purchased. Like, I'm from small town Salmon Arm. We do not have designer stuff at all. Like, Bootlegger is like, they have designer stuff. No honey, they don't. But these were like, oh my gosh, they were like the best things I had ever seen in my life. So I went to Vancouver to get my prom dress at Betsey Johnson, and I saw these in the store. And I can't remember how much they were, probably like maybe like $250, maybe $300, probably closer to like $250, $200. But like, not to say that's not a lot of money for a pair of shoes, but like back then that was astronomical. Like, that was like, who has that kind of money to spend on a shoe? But I ended up bribing my mom that I don't even know how I ended up paying her off, like mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, like doing tons and tons of chores for like the next probably 4 or 5 months so that she would lend me the money to purchase these. And these are the most uncomfortable fucking things I've ever worn. I wore them to grad and I've probably worn them once since because they just pinch so bad at the toe. but I loved them so much. I really wanted them, and I will never forget my graduation shoes, so I do keep them even though I don't wear them. This next pair of shoes is a pair of booties. These were, okay, back it up. So I have a friend named Jordan, and he is awesome. We used to do musical theater together. He was on the swim team. We both played hockey. He was just a really close friend of mine, and he didn't have a vehicle in high school. He was a year older than me, and I had a vehicle, so I always drove him home from school, and we'd stop and get Tim Hortons on the way, and yeah, like it was just a kind of our routine of I drop him off. And I remember him every single time. He didn't have like tons and tons of money. He worked, but he didn't have tons of money. And he always said, one day I will pay you back. I promise I'll pay you back for all of this. So fast forward probably, I don't know, like 4, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, anywhere in there. And he came and visited me in Vancouver when I was living there. And he said, okay, remember when I told you that I would pay you back? And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no, really, I want to take you out. I want to take you on a shopping spree, and I want to take you out to dinner. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you know, I have a boyfriend, you know that this is, he's like, no, it's not like that at all. I just want to say thank you because you were always so kind to me in high school. And I was like, okay. So we ended up going shopping, and he bought me my pair of BB boots that you guys always comment on. I have worn these to IMAT since. I have worn these so many places since. I absolutely love these boots. I think that they are one of my favorite pairs ever that I've ever had. They are so ridiculously tall. I love the little chunky bit on the bottom, but that is how I ended up with these in my possession. Jordan purchased them for me from BB, and I would love to say thank you yet again. I think that was the nicest thing that anyone could have ever done. He took me out to dinner afterwards, and we had the most amazing time. So thank you, Jordan. I will never forget that. You still put a smile on my face with these. This next pair of shoes was also purchased for me, but it was under a much more creepy circumstance, and I will never forget this. This was like the weirdest thing that had ever happened to me at that point in my YouTube history. Let me rewind. So I was probably about a year into doing YouTube videos, and I had maybe like 8,000 to 10,000 followers, and like that's quite a bit of people. Like when you really think about it, that's quite a bit of people, especially when you're first starting out on YouTube and you've been doing it for a year and all of a sudden you have like this many followers. So I started getting a ton of emails, as you do with the more following you get. More people email you, more companies email you and stuff like that. And I got this email one day, and Glen and I were kind of sitting there like on the couch, and I was flicking through my emails, and I was like, hey babe, you need to hear this. This is like what the fuck. And I read the email out, and it was from a guy, and he was from the States, and he had a foot fetish, and he wanted to see my feet. And I was immediately like, no, like that's just not my thing at all. That is so creepy. I have a boyfriend. That is so weird. Please, like, no, ew. And then I mentally was like going through all the different photos that I've ever posted. My feet are in it. Anyway, so rewind. Basically, I wrote back and said, no, that's just not anything that I'm comfortable doing, blah, 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 blah. Left it at that. Probably about a week later, I got an email back from the guy, and I'm like, oh my god, Glen, like, come here, read this. Like, it's the guy again. And he had said in the email that he didn't want me to send anything privately. He was just wondering if he could buy me a pair of shoes and if I would wear them in a lookbook video. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, this is fucking weird, but I already wear shoes in lookbook videos. I already showcase my shoes in lookbook videos, so I guess why not? And I look at Glen and I'm like, are you okay with this? And he's like, I think it's hilarious. I think you totally should. And so I went on to Tony Bianco, where there was a pair of shoes that I wanted, and I sent him this picture of these shoes, and I said, if you're actually serious about this, here's my PayPal, here's the shoes that I want. Go for it if you want to, no pressure. About 3 hours later, the money was in my PayPal account, and I purchased these suckers. So yeah, probably the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me YouTube-wise as of that point. I've probably had weirder things happen since, which I'm so not going into, especially in a video. But yeah, there were these ones, and you guys see these all the time, which I think it's kind of funny now you know the story behind how I got these. And I do love these shoes. They are really hard to wear though. As you can see, it has a ridiculously steep slope, and even though it does have a large platform, the slope is so great, and the tiny little bottom is so small that it's very like tippy forwardy, if that makes any sense. They are a gorgeous shoe though, and I did end up featuring them in the lookbook. And I have no idea if the guy commented. I have no idea because he never sent me an email back. Nothing was ever said. But I got a free pair of kicks out of the deal. So sweet. These next pair of shoes definitely do not have a creepy story like the last ones, but they do have a memory near and dear to my heart. And these are a pair of sandals. They are completely worn through. They're from gojane.com. This was a pair that I wore to music festivals with my best friends, and most notably I wore these to the Roots and Blues festival with my friend Ariel, and I just remember dancing like crazy. Like, these were the most muddy shoes. It was raining, it was muddy, it was gross, but I had the most amazing time, and I'll never ever forget that night. And these were the shoes that I was wearing, and they're like probably 5 years old and still going strong. And they jingle when I walk, so that's kind of cool. But not a huge story behind these, but these are definitely near and dear to my heart. I'll never forget that music festival. Pair number 6 is my little black shoe, and it is the shoe that I grab for whenever I want a comfortable, nice heel that's a good height, still sexy, but so comfortable. And I bought these while working again at Guess in Vancouver, and they look like this. They were called the Prepa shoe, I believe, or something like that, Prepa or Prepa, and I've gone through so many little shoe nibs from these. It is mental. Like, these are worn through completely, and there is like little tiny threads coming off of them. Like, I wear these to death. And basically I saw these on a coworker when I was working at Guess. I fell in love. I was like, these are my first like big girl high heel sexy shoes, so I bought them. And again, it was one of those shoes, it was like, oh my gosh, should I buy them? They're expensive, they're for Guess, oh my gosh, but I had an employee discount, so it made sense to buy them. And these shoes have been everywhere. I've brought them all over the world. I most notably wore these on my 20th birthday, and for any of my friends watching this who attended my 20th birthday, you know what I'm talking about. And I just think that these were pretty much lifesavers at the point that I had them. I was not good at walking in heels at all. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I wanted to wear them anyways, and we ended up getting stranded in Gastown, which is on the far side of Vancouver, and I lived in the West End, which was like the way other side near English Bay. And I ended up walking home because we couldn't get a cab. We walked home in the rain for like 6 kilometers in heels, and at that point I was like, yep, these are my be-all end-all heel. My feet still are not completely death dagger pain feet, and yeah, from that moment on I knew that these would always be, the fuck was that? These would always be my best heels in my entire collection. So these are always my comfy heels, my dancing heels, my go-to heels. My last pair of shoes that I want to show you is probably my most famous, exciting pair of shoes, and they aren't even really famous or exciting at all, but that's how I'm going to explain them. They are these ones, and some of you are like, what the sweet Jesus? These are the shoes that I wore to the Playboy Mansion for the Halloween party last year. And we were dressed as My Little Ponies, and I went with a huge group of my girlfriends and my boyfriend and their boyfriends, and we had a freaking blast. Probably not the best shoe to wear to the Playboy Mansion if you ever were, for whatever reason, to attend the mansion. There is a lot of cobblestones, so it was like walking death trap to try and get in and around the mansion. I was in these from about 4:30 in the afternoon to about 4:30 in the morning, so 12 hours-ish. And I've never been in so much pain. The first 3 hours, like I said, they were great. It was fun. I was sailing through, and then I felt like someone was just jabbing like a screwdriver up the ball of my foot and like twisting, and it was awful, but totally worth it. My legs looked like I met Nikki Hilton in these shoes. I met several other playmates and celebrities in these shoes, and I will never forget how much fun it was to be at the mansion and have that experience with my friends. So these are definitely holding a place in my heart forever. So that is 7 of my most memorable shoes and the stories to go along with them. I would love to see you do this video because I am such a creep and I love hearing backstories. So please do this video, please, please, please. And if you enjoyed watching, please do give it a thumbs up because it shares to everybody that's following you, and then they might see it and then they might do it, and we might get this tag trending, you know? It'd be pretty cool. Use the hashtag ShoeStories for me to find your video or whatever link that you end up tweeting me, and that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you really soon. Bye!